And the idea is for us all to gather and get a Reiki healing, and also to just kind of dive into the group energy. Like my feeling now is the group energy is super, super important in terms of coming together as communities that are specifically interested in staying in a certain vibration. So obviously, as we look around the planet at the moment, there's a lot of different vibrations going on. Some of them are more resonant to us than others. And that kind of comes to this conversation around release that I really wanted to talk about today. We are, in 2020, we are really starting to shift into a totally different opportunity. And what I mean by that is, like things are getting quite different in our ability to shift from how it used to be. Like in the old paradigm, when I said release, and I'm sure you're all very familiar with this, you might have something that comes up in your life that causes you a kind of anxiety, like maybe somebody is doing something and you feel really upset about it, and then you might do a bit of psychoanalysis on yourself, or like personal growth, right? You would look at it. Where is this coming from? Why does this keep happening? What's the pattern? And then you might go back through the pattern, go back into your childhood and see, oh, it comes from here or comes from there. So there's a whole, like the whole personal development world is based on this way of releasing. So getting to the root cause. And in Reiki, we talk about this a lot. What's the root cause of the problem? Stop just dealing with the symptoms and really start getting into the root cause. A lot of our Reiki 2 techniques are to do with getting into root causes of things. So I'm actually going to suggest that there is another possibility that is very much starting to bubble up into the surface, which is instead of tracing the story back to origin, we actually just ignore the story. And what I mean by that is the story is based on a need for something we have inside ourselves for an external validation, right? So we want something from somebody else or from something else, or we wouldn't be bothered. And normally when we trace back all of our stories, it comes back to a need for love or approval or validation, pretty much, right? So if we trace back all our stories, we want somebody else to give us love, or we want someone else to validate us, or we want someone else to approve of us. And that it boils down to the same thing time and time and time again. So my suggestion is that at the moment, and this is honestly, I think this is just going to keep getting stronger and stronger as we step into the 20s, is our ability to actually look at the whole storytelling, like all of our need for other people's approval, for other people's love, for other people's attention, whatever that is, and just go, do I even need any of that? Like, is any of that even relevant? And what if I release my need for stories? And that's a really powerful place to step into, because then it's like, and this is what I want to explore in the meditation today, okay? Like if we let go of our stories just for the 20 minutes that we're meditating together, that's it. Then you can pick them all up at the end, okay? So I'm not asking you to just dump the lot in the bin and let it go. But in this meditation, if we go into it with the intention, I'm just going to drop my story for a little bit, just for 20 minutes, and see if I'm still there. And this is such a powerful thing to see, is when someone's not giving you the love, attention, validation, or whatever it is you think you need from them, you don't explode and nothing bad happens. And it's like, and you're still perfectly fine. And this is, it's such a wake up. So when people are talking about the awakening, and people are saying 2020 is like this, we're going through this new paradigm, this is what they're talking about. Our ability as individuals to realize our potential, our power, our inner love, and our connection with everything. And that's what this is all about, right? So the first step is realizing that within ourselves, because there's no point saying, oh yeah, we're all connected, if we're also, on the other hand, busy trying to get everybody to meet our needs, because that just is the opposite of that, because that's assuming that we're separate. I need someone else means that I'm separate from them. If we come into our own sense of aloneness, and aloneness is not the same as lonely. That's very important to get that, right? Aloneness is no matter what, even if you're sitting, like at the moment, you might be sitting in the room with someone else, or you might be alone, but it doesn't matter. Even if someone's in the room with you, you're still alone, right? You get what I'm saying? It's not like they're in your body or they're with you in yourself. So this feeling of aloneness is all there is. And that same sense of aloneness that I have sitting here talking to you is exactly the same as your sense of aloneness listening to me. And I know that's getting really weird, but if you just contemplate that for a little bit, it's like the essence of who you are is always the same. Always, always, always the same. No matter whether you've got someone in the room with you, whether you're by yourself, whether you're feeling great, whether you're feeling crap, it doesn't matter. That essence is identical. And once we really own that and we see it, and we see that that essence never changes, whether someone approves of us or not, whether someone loves us or not, then that's personal power. Then that essence starts to get really embodied. And that embodiment is where we're going. So when we start embodying it, it means that we can start helping others embody it too. And when we're all embodying it, or a much greater proportion of the population is embodying it, then we are going to start doing things very differently, right? As a society, as countries, as a humanity, we start to really respond very differently to what's happening around us, and how we help people, and how we need people, and all our stories. We could just drop all those stories and really experience the freedom of the essence of who we are, right? So that's what I mean when I mean release. So I'm not talking about the kind of release that we usually do, which is, okay, let's psychoanalyze ourselves. Now, I'm not saying at all that doesn't have a place. I think sometimes when people, but I'm suggesting that if you're on this call, you probably psychoanalyzed yourself to death already, or you wouldn't even have found me, right? So there's a certain group of people that start getting interested in what we're doing when they've already done a lot of the other stuff. So the psychoanalysis and that kind of the old paradigm releasing is still valid for the old paradigm. Okay, so I'm not saying that's not valid anymore. And if you are a psychotherapist, it doesn't mean you're going to be jobless. There's still lots and lots of people that is very valid for. But as you start to wake up, and what I mean by that is just start to realize, oh, actually, what I'm saying makes sense, for example, and you start to resonate with that, then you need to take that paradigm step and let go of all that. Because it's just, you will be psychoanalyzing yourself to the rest of your days, because we have thousands of stories, thousands and thousands. And when you drop one story, another one will come up, right? If this person doesn't need me, or if this person doesn't love me, then someone else will come in. So there's this constant kind of neediness, and we need to drop that whole paradigm of needing anybody else. And that's not the same as community. Like this community, none of us need anybody else in the community. We just really enjoy the community, right? So there's that great enjoyment of like minds meeting and amplifying the love, compassion, support that we feel for each other. And that's a very different thing. And if you imagine communities like that all around the world, then, it's like, yes, I sign up for that world. And so this is the kind of momentum, and I'm talking about it, and thousands of other people are talking about it. And this is the momentum that I really want us to start stepping into over the next coming months, because this is where 2021 is going, right? So there's a certain calling now, quite an urgent calling for this kind of leadership to kind of come up and for us to really start stepping into it, and start amplifying it and start showing other people what's possible, right? All that kind of thing. Does that sound good? Yes. Thank you, Artie. I love the thumbs up. All right, my darlings. So what I'm going to suggest is we go into the Reiju now. And so there will be a bit of guidance that I will give you. As I said, you are very welcome to just mute me and I'll show you what happens when I turn off my video. You get this nice little picture. And then when I turn it back on, then the meditation is complete. So we go in for honestly, it really depends on where the energy goes. We go in for about 25 minutes though, around about. So first of all, we're just all going to come in and we're going to receive a Reiju, first of all. So essentially, you just bring your hands into prayer pose, into Gasho, bringing your thumb into your heart center, fingers pointing up, taking a few deep breaths. And this is just to allow the Reiki energy to start coming in, comes in through the crown, all the way down into your heart center. And then you're allowing it into your hands. And for those of you who are sending to the group today, you're bringing in your intention to send Reiki to all those who've joined the group today and to all those who may be listening to this afterwards. So just taking a few moments, feeling into this kind of group energy that we're creating together. Really getting into the essence of what community is all about, a shared experience where we're really supporting each other energetically. We might have different beliefs, different countries, societies, backgrounds, but energetically you can feel that intention and attention to really step into a better world. And also, sometimes people find it very intense when they start really opening up into that community energy. So if you're really not used to it or it feels very intense, remember that you can always dial it down. It's always up to you how much you open to it. And more openness is not necessarily the right thing for you. So coming into your own truth. Asking the energy to step into you in the appropriate amount to your highest good, with ease and grace. And we're talking about stories today. So I'd like you just to start off with a kind of visual, however it comes to you, of all the little stories you've got going on. They might be little bookmarks, or you might notice little library, maybe little post-it notes. And they might be all around your aura, or like a little folder in your mind. However it comes, like all those stories of what people should do, shouldn't do, have done, what the world should be doing, shouldn't be doing, all those little beliefs, lines of inquiry. Maybe you notice that they run through certain areas of your body, creating tension in certain areas, maybe the shoulders, maybe a tightness around the chest or belly. Sometimes it might appear as little crusty cracks around your aura, whatever it is. Just becoming aware of all those hundreds or thousands of stories that run through our life and our mind, our thoughts. And just very gently, and not forever, it's totally up to you. You're just going to very gently let it all fall away. And that falling away may literally be a falling away through the feet into the ground. Or it might be a simple delete button. Delete them all. Or you could try taking it off like a coat, unzipping yourself, letting that shell drop away. Allowing the mind to empty completely. And begin to notice the one who is doing this. The essence, the you-ness, the one that is always the same and has always been the same. You might notice as you are trying to drop the stories that they keep popping back. And that's absolutely fine. Your attention is on the one trying to drop. The one aware of the stories. If you manage to drop the stories even for a second, notice what is left. You might notice an expansion, a light, a lightness, a freedom. You might notice love, joy, or quiet stillness. And whatever it is you notice, just bringing more and more attention to this. If your mind is still in the stories, just very gently allowing those to drop just for now. You might notice this essence of aloneness and see that it is full of a sense of potentiality, completeness, love. In fact, everything that you think that you need from outside is right here and now, already and always existing. As you continue to work on just allowing these stories to drop, the thoughts to drop, the what ifs and the shoulds and the buts, as they fall away, just noticing that you yourself remain unchanged, completely unchanged, only lighter, freer, more capable of loving, more capable of giving. When you drop your expectations on the world, it frees you up completely. And if your mind is wandering off, back into the stories. Just very gently dropping that story, coming back into your awareness, your presence and essence. The more time you can spend in this, the more you can allow the stories to drop. You can release. And from this, a new freedom, a new potential, and a much deeper embodiment of your true nature is possible. You might even start to notice that when you can stay in the essence, you feel very expanded. And when a little story starts to wind its way back, you notice a constriction, a tightness. And when you let it drop again, you come back into the expanded self. Such a simple but important thing to notice. As you yourself remain unchanged, and only your attention to the story itself creates the tension and constriction. And letting go of that story creates expansion and freedom. As simple as that. What would be possible for you if you let all the stories go? If you lived consciously in this expanded self, imagine the potential, the freedom, the love, not only that you would feel, but that you could extend and expand out to all those around you. Giving them permission to also drop their stories, or not, with no expectation. but just with an unconditional love and compassion. No matter what the news, what the movement of the world or those around you, you would remain completely steady, eternal, calm, and open. And just feeling the truth of that now. And maybe you notice over the coming days or weeks or months that some pesky stories stick around. But just knowing that you can drop them is very empowering for you. And simply experiment. See for yourself if this is true. And for the last few moments, just allowing your breathing, just allowing all the cells to assimilate this energy, this knowledge, this truth. Feeling the feet on the floor. You might notice it's active and tingling. You might notice your feet feel heavy on the ground as this knowledge and information comes down through all the cells. Perhaps you notice some of the stories are also leaving through the feet into the ground to be transmuted. You may notice over the coming days and weeks that some stories have literally disappeared. And the ease and grace with which this happens. Feeling the gratitude and love for that. The support that's coming in with the new earth energy. The paradigm shift we're all going through. The support we have with Reiki and our communities. And trusting in our readiness. Taking a few breaths and breathing in the love and compassion from the universe, from our communities, from those around us, as we all walk this path together. Becoming more aware now of your own boundaries, your auric boundary, the boundaries around your skin and cells and physical body. If you're feeling the energy very intensely, perhaps just making a conscious decision or intention to bring that energy to a manageable level around your aura, around your crown, the top of your head, smoothing it down over the face, the back of the head, the shoulders, the arms, into the chest and back, down into the hips, the legs, the feet. Grounding into the earth so that you start to feel very steady and stable. And then very gently just wiggling your fingers and toes. Bringing your hands stretched up above your head and giving your hands, your arms, your back, your body a little shake. And whenever you're ready, opening your eyes.